Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Leela Rhodes and I'll be your moderator today. Thank you so much for joining us here at NetCom Learning, a market leader in promoting lifelong learning, training, and talent development solutions. We are very excited to host today's event, Microsoft Azure AI Fundamentals Masterclass. Presenting today's topic is Swasti Ray. Now I'm going to go ahead and pass the time over to Swasti to present today's topic. Welcome and thank you so much for joining.
Hi, thanks, Rita. So now let's move on and see the first workload of the AI, right, which is machine learning, right? So as we discussed earlier, what is machine learning? Machine learning is a foundation for AI, for most of the AI solutions, and it enables the creation of predictive models, right? By that can predict unknown values and infer insights by finding relationships in the data, right? So now here you might ask me a question that, okay, what is, we have understood machine learning, but, how do these machines learn, right? So this can be a question that can come to your mind, right? So how do machines learn? Now, the answer is machines learn from data, right? So in today's world, we all create huge volumes of data. I mean, I have read in a book, I don't remember the name, but it was mentioned that humans are, walking, speaking, humans are live, data emitting devices. I know it sounds funny, but it is what it is. We kind of create huge volumes of data as we go about our everyday lives, and from these data like text messages and emails and social media posts and all of that stuff, we generate massive amount of information, right? And all of these information, right, um, are basically used by then data scientists, right, to train machine learning models that can make predictions and inferences based on relationships they find in the data. Okay, and not only humans, right? So if you think about, there are millions of sensors in our homes, cars, cities, public transport, infrastructures, factories, etc. Right? So that's how the machine learning models learn, right? And that's how a data scientist kind of, does it for us, right? So let me just, clear my screen out here and let's look at an example, right? Now this is an example. Okay, so here what happens is a team of botanists, right? So the guys who basically study flowers and plants and stuff. So what they do is they collect samples of wildflowers. So these are all wildflowers, right? So then what they do is the team labels these with correct species. Like if you see this, right, with a 6 petal and a solid petals, this is Belis pernis, right? Similarly, this is also Belis pernis. Similarly, this is tulipa and this is also tulipa. Then this is rosa, basically the scientific name of rose, right? So all of these are rose, and then you have these, right? So first what happens is a team of botanists and data scientists collect samples of wildflowers. Then the team labels the samples with the correct species, right? Then the labeled data is processed using an algorithm that finds relationships, between the features and between the features of samples and the labeled species, right? And then the results of the algorithm are encapsulated in a model. So this is the model, right? And then when new samples are fed, the model is then able to tell, right, that what species is this one. So this is basically an example of a predictive model. Okay. Now, when you are creating such a predictive model in machine learning, you will see a number of algorithms, right? A number of algorithms that these machine learning models might follow. So the first of these algorithms is regression. Okay, so what is regression? So regression is a form of machine learning that is used to predict a numeric label based on an item's features. Okay, so for example, this is some data which is shown to you. Okay, now on the left hand side you see is the temperature. Okay, and on the right hand side is the number of cycle bookings. So this data is collected by a company. Let's say it is AdventureWorks, right? So AdventureWorks has collected these data, right? And AdventureWorks is a company which kind of you know which kind of rents cycles in a city, right? So it rents bicycles in a city where people can basically go ahead and rent and use them for a day, right? So the business uses historic data to train a model that predicts daily rental demand, right? In order to make sure that sufficient staff and cycles are available, right? So they have certain staff, right? That basically take care of their stores, and they of course have a set of cycles. So they want that they need to have an AI based solution, right? Which can tell them that okay, based on the weather or based on the temperature of the day, what is the average number of cycles that might be booked, and based upon that they can kind of keep their staff ready in their stores. Okay, so this like scenario can be addressed, okay, by building up a machine learning model, right, using the regression technique, right? So to do this, okay, what we can or what AdventureWorks can do is basically they can start creating a machine learning model, okay, which can kind of go ahead and take information about a specific day, that is the day of the week, the expected weather conditions, and so on, and I mean that as input, and produce the predicted number of rentals as an output. So this can be the output that you want to predict, and this can be the input along with some more inputs like what day is it, and is it a Sunday, Monday, and so on. Okay, so if you think mathematically, you can think of machine learning as a way of defining a function. Okay, let's call it f, right? So f is a function that you need to define, right? And then you need f to operate on one or more features, right? So something which we call x, so f of x, and then you need to predict a label, so that is called as y. Okay, so what you predict is called as label. Okay, labels. And what you use to predict labels is basically called as features. Okay, so machine learning can be thought of as a function that basically predicts labels based on features, one or more features. Okay, so here if you see in this example how things are basically worked out is, so once you have this data, what we will do is we will kind of divide this historic data. So here we see only 10 rows, but considering that there will be obviously more data. So we will kind of split this data into two parts. One is training and one is validation. So with the training data, we will kind of go ahead and build the model, and then with validation, we'll test the model, right? So basically, this is how we are planning to, we're trying to kind of, go ahead and, identify a function, right? So, so if you can see here, right? So we are, we'll start with some, we'll start with the data, right? So the number of rentals can be the label that we are going to predict, that is the right side, y, okay? And then the x is basically the feature on which we will base our prediction. Okay, so and why will we divide the data? Because when we find our function, we will kind of validate if we are right or wrong. Okay, so to find an appropriate function, let's plot the x and y values so we can visualize the relationship between them, right? So when we plot the x and y values, this is how we find them, right? This is how they are looking, right? So looking at the plot, now you can see that you can see a trend, right, in which the higher temperatures tend to correlate with more number of bookings, right? In fact, we can fit a line between the plotted points, right, like this, that more or less describes this correlation that we can observe. Okay, so this ability to use a line like like this to define a function for the XY relationship, okay, is basically called linear regression. Okay, so this is called as linear regression when you kind of use a or basically you draw a line and try to find a relationship or a function. Okay, so here you can see that once we get the lines, we basically try to find out the slope, right? So the slope of the line is basically it's just saying that for every 1 unit of x it goes along, it goes up to about 1.5 units of y. Okay, so the function that operates on x, if you calculate here, will be f of uh, x, and if you take y as basically 35 from here, that is this one. Okay, then the function will be 35 plus 1.5 into x, right? 1.4 into x or 1.5 into x, something like that. Okay, now we can test this function with the validation data. Okay, and let's try this out. So this is the validation data that we have. Okay, and if you like basically try this data with the function that we have got, right, you will get these as the predictions. And if you see, actual was 114, but we got 116, similarly 120, 128, 130, 137, right? And then we will try to figure out how right or how wrong we are. Okay, that means once we have a model, how close it is. Okay, so based on that, if we find that okay, we are more than 90% good, and if you are happy with the level of error in the model, then you can use this, and this is how you can basically predict your values. So basically, just remember that there is no AI model which is 100% right, so you will always get an error. Okay, now your job is to kind of recognize the ways to minimize the error, but there cannot be an AI based solution which is 100% correct, right? Which is that's impossible. So that's why you need to basically find the solution over here, basically figure out the function that kind of gives you the correct absolute like near solution. So in this case, if we use the function that we have got here from the graph, right, we will be getting these predictions, and that's kind of quite close. And then we can basically find the mean, and then find the error stuff, right? And then if we are happy with the level of error in the model, then we can use it to infer the unknown label values. Okay, so this is basically a regression that we have just now looked. And just to tell you that when you talk about the machine learning models, okay, the machine learning models are uh, uh, or basically when you talk about the machine learning algorithms, right, ML algorithms, so the algorithms kind of fall into two categories. Okay, one is the supervised learning, okay, and one is unsupervised learning. Okay, so all the algorithms, right, the first algorithm we saw, that was regression, that falls under supervised learning. Okay, and if you ask me what is supervised learning, so remember that uh, supervised learning is basically that is that in that category where you have details about your label. So if you already know how your Ys look, okay, right, and that's when we say it's a supervised learning algorithm, right? So there will be some instances where you will not be aware of the outcome, okay, and that will be called as unsupervised learning. All right, so supervised learning regression is a supervised learning algorithm, right? Where, we are training a model using data that includes both features and labels. You know X and you also know Y. Okay, so that the model learns to fit the feature combinations of the label. So you are at a better position because you already have idea about the outcomes. So that's a supervised learning. Now, next algorithm that we see is classification. Now, let me just tell you that this is also a supervised learning because here also you have the idea of Y, which is the label, and you also know the features, of course, right? Now, what might be the difference between classification and regression? So remember that regression is used to predict numeric values like these, but classification is used to predict, you know, 0 or 1, basically yes, no, those kind of stuff. Okay. So classification is a form of machine learning algorithm, is a form of machine learning that is used to predict, you know, a Boolean stuff, right? Let's say which category or which class an item belongs to. Okay. And in this case, this is an example of some health related data wherein the X here, which is kind of, you know, looking like an array of numbers, right? So it's like 4, if I take the first row, it's like 4, 2, 3.2 and 10. So what basically, you know, this is, saying is this is giving you data, okay, about patients, right? So you can consider this as, you know, age, height, weight, blood pressure, and so on. Okay, so again, I'm sure, you know, I know 4, 2 are not height and weight, but yeah, consider that these are labels, these are features which can, you know, which are kind of giving you details about or characteristics about patient, that is age, height, weight, blood pressure, sugar levels, and so on. Okay, and what you need to predict is you need to predict if the patient is in a risk of diabetes or not. Okay, so 0 is basically no diabetes and 1 is basically diabetic. Okay, so how will you do it again? So like regression, here also you can go ahead, you know, and follow an approach. So basically, you know, you will go ahead and plot these values using a graph, right? And you will basically, you know, figure out, you know, how things are looking like, right? So so here what we will do is we will again see some mathematics involved here, that is basically probability, right? And then you know, what we will do here is we will, you know, kind of go ahead and we'll split the data into two subsets. If you see training and validation on the left hand side, and then what we will do is we will, you know, try to you know, fit these values into a function so that y value is between 0 and 1. Okay, so y is, we have said, okay, we will take y as 0.5 initially, and then we will try to predict, okay, uh, how things are going on. So if the values that we get for a set of features comes over 1.5, then we will consider it as diabetic. If it is below this line, then we will consider it as non-diabetic. Okay, so that's basically, this is called as the threshold value. Okay, when you consider, you know, something in between, this is called as the threshold value. Okay, so what we will do is we will kind of, you know, go ahead and figure out a function, and while plotting this we will we kind of figure out that this is kind of a logistic function, right? So you can, you know, think of the value as representing the probability, right? So you can kind of, you know, figure out a sigmoidal or a S-shaped function, right? So now having determined the function, uh, you can produce a model, and then we can use the model for validation. So basically now you can plot your you know, your data from here and try to see how, where that fits. And then when you see when you see a 0, right, which means it's a negative, right, means diabetic negative. And when you see a 1, it's positive, right? So if your original label is 0 and you have predicted 0, this is called as a true negative. Okay, similarly, if the prediction is 1 and you have also, sorry, if the label is 1 and you have also got 1, it is called as true positive. Okay, and then if you see if the actual label was 0 and you got 1, that's called as false positive. Okay, and then this is called as false negative, right? So these are certain terms that you might be using in the in the part of classification, right? And then how will you determine if this model is kind of good for you? You will find out how many prediction mistakes are you making, so how many false negatives and how many basically true negatives, right? So that you will check on, and then once that is there, you can then go ahead, and try this out for your whole data, and then you can figure out, right, how many true positives you got, how many true negatives you got, right? And then you will be making a decision that, okay, this is how we are standing at, right? And yeah, I think this will make sense if we use this model. Okay, so that's how basically the classification works using the concepts of probability. Okay, so we have basically seen two algorithms so far, regression and classification. Both of them are examples of supervised learning, right? So now let's move on to clustering. So we have about 4 minutes before we jump in for a short break. So let's quickly cover this up as well. So we have clustering as the next algorithm in machine learning, right? So what is clustering? So clustering is basically a form of machine learning that is used to group similar items based on their features, right? So for example, here you see the multiple types of flowers. This one is having about two petals, and a leaf. This is also having the same, I think, three petals, right? And then this is also having the same, but it's a solid flower. Then this is having three petals with two leaves. This is also having the same, but with solid, and this is having about six, eight petals and two leaves, right? And this is something similar, but yeah, the color is different, right? And these are the features. So features is this is basically the I don't know, six. I think it might be the height of the flower. Yep. Okay. Or the length of the flower, and this is the number of petals. Okay, three petals, and then here we have eight petals. So how will you kind of group them, and how will you see which group they belong, right? So that's basically clustering. So what we will do is initially we will kind of and yeah, and if you see, this is called as unsupervised learning, because we do not know, right, which flower belongs to which group. Okay, we do not know that yet, right? So what we will do is we will first try to basically form clusters around them and put a nearest point, right? And then we'll just try to form a cluster, okay, like these. Then what we'll do is we will keep on performing that. So first we'll put the points here, and then we'll see how basically things are working. Now instead of this, now we decide to go for the new, and these points are called as basically k points. Okay, so we just put them in random locations, and we'll just try to kind of group them together, right? So when we move on a k point here, then now the clusters are looking like this, right? And then again, we shift our k points here, and then the clusters are looking like this. And finally, this will be the result that you'll be getting. Okay, so all of these moving of k points and all will happen mathematically, right? So it's basically calculating the centroid of a particular cluster. Okay, it will be happening mathematically, not randomly. But yeah, this is how it's going to work. And finally, you will reach out a place where you have three clusters, right? In one cluster, you have two flowers, this one also two, and this one also two. And this is going to be the centroid of the cluster. Okay, so this basically, a kind of this technique is kind of clustering, okay, which uses like k centroids and moves them to the mean distance between between the data points, right? And this is called as k-means clustering. Okay, again, let me not go deep into this, right? Because again, this is just a short session, but yeah, this is called as k-means clustering, and this is also a machine learning algorithm. But yeah, this is under the category of unsupervised learning. So what did we see till now is about about machine learning, and what are the different machine learning algorithms that you might come across, right? So now let's see what is Azure machine learning. So basically, when you say, okay, machine learning is something that we want to work with, and we want to make some models and basically train them and stuff. So how is gonna Azure help you in that? So Azure Machine Learning is a cloud-based platform for machine learning. So you can obviously go ahead and start your machine learning journey with Azure, right? So why will you do that? Because Azure provides you a set of features, and yeah, before that, of course, you need to have an Azure subscription, right? And that's where you can have your Azure machine learning workspace, and then you can, of course, rent these services from Azure while you work with your machine learning, models. You will need some compute, as I was mentioning earlier, and then you will need some data, and you can basically go ahead and set up your experiments and make models and basically treat them. And also you can integrate several other services as well, and kind of build up a great model that can be consumed by your solutions, right? So that's about how we get started with machine learning. Now, as I was mentioning, why will we opt for Azure machine learning? Because Azure machine learning provides a certain cool features, right? So let me just okay. So let me just put those over here, maybe somewhere here. Why will we go for machine learning, right? So we get a feature in Azure which is called as automated machine learning, right? So the automated machine learning is a feature which enables non-experts, right, to quickly create an effective machine learning model from data. So you don't need to be a data scientist to actually go ahead and start your a machine learning journey. What you can do is you can use automated machine learning, which enables anyone to kind of quickly create an effective machine learning model, and you just need to put in your data, and that's it, right? So it basically takes out the hard work that you need in machine learning, so you can supply your data and just get your desired model, right? So that's basically one reason why you can look forward to Azure machine learning, specifically um, in this specifically to start with your machine learning journey. The other thing that you get over here is the Azure machine learning designer. So as I was basically showing you the machine learning the machine learning studio, right? So over there you get the machine learning designer, which is a visual tool. So you get a drag and drop feature, right? You get a drag and drop feature which kind of allows you to customize the model that you have. So you can basically use a training pipeline to train the model, and then have inference pipeline to predict labels, and then of course deploy the model as a service, right? So if I quickly just to show you a glimpse of that, so if you go to experiments or see the samples, right? And if I just show you one of these, let's say apply SQL, let's say this one, anomaly detection credit risk analysis, right? So you can see that this there'll be a model. So this is basically the model, right? And it is a drag and drop feature, right? So because this is a pre-built model, so you have it is logged right now. But yeah, this is how it will work. So you will have your actions that you can kind of go ahead and drag and drop here, and then you can basically change their properties and how you need them. And of course, wherever you want, you can set up your formulas and stuff like that, right? You can use regular expressions and things. Okay. So basically, this is how it works. So this is basically a drag and drop model, and that the screen that I showed you is called as your machine learning designer, right? So that's about things on Azure machine learning, and why you can choose Azure machine learning as a beginner to obviously start your machine learning journey, right? So now I'll be just taking a pause and resharing my screen with yet another a bunch of important information for all the participants here that can be really helpful for your career spacing. All right. First of all, a big thanks to all of you for attending this webinar, and I hope that you got some something new to see, something interesting, and something crucial, right, as a learning part, right? And if that's the case, then let me convey something from my personal experience. So um, I have kind of taken up more than 10 certifications till now from Microsoft. Um, and what I have noticed is it not only has improved my knowledge base, it has also improved the way I look at things when I, for example, when I meet a client and when I do some consulting work, or when I train, a client or so, it has changed the way I have, I look into things now, because by taking up certifications, it has given me, you know, new ways to, look at things, and by enhancing my knowledge. So now when I look at a problem, I can analyze the problem better, right? And I can, reach the solution faster than how I used to, right? So I have seen people, taking up trainings, and then um, I'm not sure why they don't, go for certifications, but I have also met a lot of people who know the importance of certification. So, I personally recommend and suggest everyone to take up certifications from Microsoft, and that really kind of, helps you personally to grow your knowledge base, and also, of course, without a doubt, in your career space as well, right? So what's the next step, for us here, right? So the next step could be, to continue your learning, right? Of course, um, you can obviously go ahead and explore, right? The set of certifications that you get, right? So you can choose your domain, let it be, Azure or AI specifically, or Microsoft business applications, or Azure infrastructure or platform as a service. Now you go and you get a certification, right? So now there's a list of benefits mentioned here. You can go through this, but let me tell you that the benefits are really huge. And I speak from my personal experience. I have experienced the benefits of certifications, right? It's definitely true that you stand out when you get certifications. It's definitely true that getting a badge from Microsoft certifications really encourages and really motivates you, right, to keep learning every day, keep learning something new, right? And it definitely helps an organization, increase the way its employees, work in, it makes an organization, really efficient in how the employees, provide their value. So definitely go ahead and check out the certification that you're interested in, and uh, of course you can go ahead and get in touch, and of course explore the opportunities of certifications from Microsoft's websites, and of course from NetCom Learning as well. And as I said, right, so there are only benefits that you see when you take up certifications, and definitely you can go ahead and download this event handout, right, which will help you kind of speed up the process of taking up certifications, right? Now this is something that basically talks about your journey with data and AI. Now, this is because this is an AI 900 session. Okay, and if you're interested, you will be able to find this journey for all the other domains as well. But if you look at AI, this is where we are at. So the first task for you is to go ahead and get the AI fundamental certification, that's AI 900. Then you can go ahead and jump into the Azure Database Administrator Associate if you are going for the data journey, right? And then you can basically go ahead and go to the other roles that you see after you get the DBA certification, right? um, Moving on to specialty certifications. And then if you're going for the AI journey, of course AI fundamentals is the one, right? And then you can go ahead and get started with the Azure AI Engineer Associate, and then of course move on to the Data Analyst Associate, that is the Power BI stuff. Now, of course, if you are going for data or AI, right, of course you'll be going with the fundamental exams for these domains, that is data fundamentals DP 900 and AI 900. But yes, again, I recommend this to everyone, and one of my most favorite certifications is Azure Fundamentals, which is AI AZ 900. So AZ 900 is my first certification, and I think it's the first certification for many, almost 90% of the people who are certified, right? So do go check that out, right? And yeah, definitely choose your path to follow, and increase the value you add to your companies. So yep, so you can of course go ahead and explore instructor-based learnings, and let me tell you why it is important. See, it's it's very like you can get everything on YouTube or on online, right? But sometimes, right, we do not have so much time, right? So we have a restrictive time, and within that we need to hit the targets, right? And an instructor-led training helps you hit your target in a in a less span of time. Okay, so how it does it is the instructor-led training you know provides you the right direction, right direction with the right content that you need to follow, right? And of course, real world use cases and all of that definitely helps you. Okay, so you can always go ahead and explore the training programs from NetCom, right? So you can get access basically to a lot of things, right? And of course, 24/7 support and free repeat opportunities as well, right? And rest assured, you will definitely find these trainings really valuable and really helpful, and these will speed up your certification journey. That's for guaranteed, that I can say. So some facts about renewal as well. So once you get certified, it's also important to know, what's the validity gonna be, and all of that. So you can also go ahead and renew your certifications. If you're already having a certification and you want to renew your certification, you can obviously go ahead and do that as well. Okay, and there's certain requirements that you need to go through in that case as well. So please get in touch with NetCom Learning if you want a speed up knowledge on this part as well, right? So, and this is also really important. So yep, that's that's what we wanted to convey. So let's get trained and certified, and let's make a difference in the society. So yep, thanks a lot there. Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. We really appreciate you joining us today. We are going to do a question and answer session in just a moment here. But before we do that, we're going to hear from Sognik. Sognik, he is our vendor marketing manager, and he's going to introduce some of our promotions and webinar related courses. Sognik.
Hey, thank you so much. And once again, kudos to Swasti for that incredible session. I'd like to take this opportunity to take all our live participants today through some of the exclusive perks and benefits that are part of registering for this session. So I'd quickly take us through the things that are there in place, waiting for you to explore, and we'll just get started. So first and foremost, we have put together this event handout for all the participants attending this session live today. So feel free to go through this insightful document. You'd find all the relevant links and resources mapped to this file. It's all hyperlinked. Feel free to use the links. We'd start with some basic insights about NetCom Learning. We are a Microsoft authorized training partner, gold level learning partner with Microsoft. And we have been in the training industry for more than 23 years now, having serviced over 80% of the Fortune 1000 clients and having a lot of exposure and experience with respect to supporting government uh, uh, customers as well, starting from the US military to the federal and state governments. Uh, we have authorized training partner status with almost all the vendors in the industry. So starting from Microsoft, AWS, Cisco, CompTIA, Axelos, PMI, EC Council, whatever may be your training need, we have a solution, an authorized training solution for you with which we can support you and your team. So feel free to explore more about us, and we would be having a solution that is earmarked for your specific requirements. Post this session, the session was being recorded, so all the participants, if you want to go back and revise some of the learnings from today's session, feel free to do so using the link that is mapped to your event handout. So feel free to use the access recording link to go through this today's recording. Now, an important aspect of today's learning is the benefit, the exclusive benefit of getting access to the AI 900 Microsoft official courseware. That is an exclusive benefit that all the live participants are entitled to. So in order to access that resource, your official Microsoft courseware, you have to access that through the NetCom 365 Learner portal. So all the participants today, the portal access have been created for all of you. So you have to follow certain steps, which I'm not now going to demonstrate. So please follow these steps in order for you to access those resources and also your participation certificate for today's session. So the first thing that you got to do, you have a direct link as part of your handout as well. You can use that. Feel free to use that. Otherwise, you can always go to www.netcomlearning.com and then click on the NetCom 365 button here. Once you click on that, you'd be taken to our portal login page, which would look something like this. So once you are into the portal, it would look something like this. Once you are going for the first time, it would ask you to provide your punch in your login credentials. So you have to use your the email ID that you use to register and participate in today's session. Please feel free to use that email ID and set up your password for your first login. Once you are into the portal, you'd be greeted with a dashboard that would look something like this. Now on the ongoing classes section, you'd find the entry for today's masterclass listed here. All you got to do, the first step is make sure to mark yourself present. So once you click on mark yourself present, there would be a confirmation dialog that yes, your attendance have been marked. Next, what you have to do is click on the last day eval. Make sure to click on that. Once you click on it, there would be a very simple form like this that you have to just provide the scores for and click on submit. You can choose to click on submit anonymously if you don't want your name to be submitted. So whichever way you choose, feel free to do that, but taking the survey is an important part of unlocking your privileges. Once you do that and you click on the submit, what you have to do is go back and click on the completed classes section. Once you click on that, you're going to be redirected to a page that is going to list all the classes that you have taken with NetCom Learning so far. So if you have participated with us before, you're going to see the listings from before. And if this is your first time, then only today's session would be listed there on that page. So once the page loads, just give it some time. Based on the server load, it might take some time at times. As the page would load, you would be getting access to everything with respect to that particular class in one go. So you'd be looking at something like this, right? So when you log in on Monday and you complete all the process, you'd be given access to the book that is associated with today's session. So in this case, you would be getting access to the AI 900 courseware, which would be accessible from the skill pipe book launch option that would appear in the completed classes section. Another very important aspect is the download certificate button. So once you click on that, it would give you access to your proof of participation for today's session, which would look something like this. So this is for an older class, but it would be appearing in a similar form for today's session as well. So feel free to follow these steps and explore our NetCom 365 portal. It is very intuitive, so feel free to go through it and follow these steps to unlock all your exclusive benefits. I will take you very quickly through some of our exclusive offers and promotions with respect to Microsoft training and certification. First offer is the Microsoft Skilling Program, which is our enterprise-focused program in place. Covers the entire Microsoft training portfolio across Azure, security, Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365, and Power Platform. If you are an enterprise, no matter the size, if you are a team of 5 or 6 to a team of thousands of employees, spread across the globe, this program is the right choice for you. All you need to do is get in touch with us and get your free consulting session with our experts. Our team will understand your particular requirements, your project requirements, if you want support or skilling requirements with respect to a specific project that you want to deploy. And we would create a very customized Microsoft skilling plan for your team. Exclusive benefits include an enterprise discount of up to 80% on the official course deliveries that you take from us, and it is all part of your skilling plan deployment with us. There are the NetCom 365 access for both the decision maker and the learner. So all the participants today are going to be getting access to the learner portal. So once you go for the enterprise solution, the decision makers, the managers, the leadership team gets an access to an exclusive portal, wherein you get exclusive insights into your team's learning performance and budgeting options. So it's truly a 360-degree upskilling experience. We highly recommend for all the enterprises to go through this and book an appointment with us so we can discuss what solution fits you the best. Some facts about certifications have already been discussed by our instructor here. Just note here that certifications, they are an incredible value add to your learner's journey, whether it is you as an individual or if you are a team leader and you are looking forward to upskill your team. Certifications do play a big role in the overall quality of learning and the sustainability of the skills. Feel free to go through the Win-Win of Certification ebook. It is an official ebook from Microsoft. It is a powerhouse of incredible insights with respect to ROIs that have been experienced by professionals and organizations across industries that Microsoft has put together for the decision makers to take a look at and decide whether certifications make sense for their requirements. Feel free to go through this. You can access this ebook by following this link that is mapped here in your handout, and it is a free asset. Another offering that we have in place is a subscription offer that we have called the NetCom Plus. It is an individual learner subscription, which means it is exclusively tied up to a specific learner. So it is a great option for individuals and smaller teams, wherein you want to ensure that you get an year-long worth of training support for a very nominal and economic price of $2,999 per learner per year. If it is less than 10 learners, if you have a team of more than 10 learners, the cost goes further down as part of the enterprise discounts and exclusive benefits. The subscription model, it covers most of the popular vendors, including Microsoft, AWS, Cisco, Confia, and many more, including 60 plus official Microsoft courses. And these are instructor-led courses, full official courses that you can train your team with. It's an incredible value for money option if you are looking for a subscription offering. Another option for the enterprises to consider is the Learning Passport, wherein you get flexible team training for 12 months across 4,000 plus official courses. So this is essentially the entire official portfolio that NetCom Learning has to offer across vendors like Microsoft, AWS, Cisco, Confia, Adobe, Autodesk, PMI, basically the entire set of vendor associations that we have. You get access to the entire thing for 12 months, and it increases your training fund value by up to 100%. So it is a really great option for enterprises to consider and park their training funds for an year-long worth of training. Also, we have a security bundle. We have this is the final call for this promotion. If you are interested in exploring the Microsoft security solutions, the portfolio, feel free to go through this. It is going to expire on June 30th. You get, as part of this bundle, the official virtual instructor-led training course, along with an exam voucher and practice test. So it ensures that you can really get certified at the end of your skilling process. It's a great option for those who are interested in the Microsoft security upskilling. Now, as already covered by our instructor, all the courses that are related to the Microsoft Azure AI journey skilling journey has been mapped here. Feel free to go through these links. Every option here has been hyperlinked for your convenience. So just click on the links that you're interested in, and you would be able to explore all the resources on our website. Also, feel free to register for our upcoming masterclasses for DevOps and Windows Server Hybrid Core Infrastructure and Advanced Services in the coming months. With that, I'd like to hand it back to you, Leela. Thank you, everyone, for joining our session.
Thank you so much. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up today's session. We want to thank you so much, Swasti, for joining us. In addition to today's webinar, we have a lot of informative webinars coming up. So please go to www.netcomlearning.com/webinars/ and you can register for any of those there. We want to thank you all for joining us today. If you do come up with any additional questions, please feel free to send them to us at webinar@netcomlearning.com at any time. And we hope that you found today's webinar to be informative. We look forward to seeing you back here very soon with us. And also feel free to tell your friends and colleagues about our webinars and other courses. Once again, thank you everyone, and have a great day.